I have a new mic set up. I thought I'd give it a try, see if it does any better than what I was getting. Couldn't be worse. I want to do a comparison between a Howe Rust driver, a full tone OCD, and a ProCo Rat. I threw the Rat into this because it's a fairly well-known pedal. Everybody pretty much has an idea of how this sounds, or can get an idea of how this sounds. This pedal is not even one of the good ones, if you judge it that way. This is the newest version, probably made in China, with all the lowest quality parts, etc., etc. So I thought it'd be good as the control to throw that into it. I'm using, once again, custom Defender amplifier, set fairly clean with a PRS standard 22 satin. So this is what the Rat sounds like. So it's pretty much a classic Rat sound. If you take this filter control and you move that up a little bit closer to 12 o'clock, it gets a little bit more high frequency range, but that's the downfall of the Rat in general, is they tend to get harsher as they get more treble. It really does have a fairly harsh tone to me. It always has, but used it as a boost pedal for a very long time, and it does phenomenally well at that. And let's face it, there's some times when you need that sort of metallic clang, and this does work really well for that. Well, I obviously still have one. I still see a need to have one. So it's a good control for this pedal test. Let's move to the Howe Rust driver. This is still one of my favorite distortion tones. And a friend of mine at a local music store introduced me to it. And pretty much when I was coming down off the Line 6 era of my sound, where I was using a lot of Line 6 gear, which was, again, remarkably good, did a good job. But once I really started to get into the idea of just tubes and pedals and trying to get a little bit more analog, this was introduced to me. It's got a great sound. It's very tight. It's very focused. Very much a Marshall sort of sound, and very simple. Most of the control of this pedal is really on your guitar. So as you back down your volume, it cleans up very nicely. And if you go all the way up, especially on this particular guitar, it really does sound like a Marshall Plexi with a little bit of fuzz on it. Right now I do have the bright switch engaged. Because of my current amp setup, this seems to be the clearest and work the best. I actually set the OCD up to be very comparable in sound to it, so we can kind of do an A-B on how similar they can sound. Very good sound, and it works remarkably well. Let me show you the comparison between volume all the way up, which I'll start with, and then I'll back it down a little bit. All in all, everything I like about a pedal. It's really simple. I'm going to probably keep this one till the day I die. Just really good sound. This is the OCD by Full Tone. I got this set up right now to behave a little bit like the rest driver. Boy, I've got to work on that lick. Back down the guitar volume, and this is one of the main differences between the rest driver and the OCD. Rest driver really maintains its high end, and it's actually fairly high end and spiky as you turn your volume of your guitar back. The OCD to me more or less mellows out all across the board. It's actually a little spongier, and it's of course very nice. It gets a lot more reactive to touch. This is with the guitar volume down about 3. And this is the reason I've got the OCD, is it still gives me a lot of the rest driver tones that I love, but it allows me to back down and get an entirely different tonality. And of course the other thing is it's much more versatile across the board because it has a tone knob, which is very nice. I can control this. I can actually back this way back and get some real murk out of it. And of course why this works on the OCD is it really only, the treble knob, the tone knob only works with the treble. Everything else remains fairly consistent. Usually I'm keeping the tone knob almost straight up and backing it down if I'm starting to get a little shrieky tone-wise, and altogether a wonderful pedal. So to give you a rundown, this is the OCD again. This is the rest driver.